welcome to my channel. My name is Becky, Socks for Mom, and this is FlossTube number 26. Today's date is August 1st, and I'm going to bring you an update on what I've been stitching on the last couple weeks and talking a little bit about quilting today too. So grab your favorite beverage, come back and join me, and let's get started. I've been sticking with my new rotation, which I do enjoy a lot. I've been keeping up everything I've been doing in the Book of Days by Needlework Press. And this is what it looks like this month. And these are the rotations. The colored tabs tell how many days I planned to work on them, which I actually did. So let's get started on the last 2-week rotation that I did. But before I get into the rotation, there's been something I've been working on at night when I go to bed, and that is the Ann Morrison Stitch Along put on by Traditional Stitches to celebrate their 20th anniversary. And my book is kind of falling apart, so, and the front page is missing. So I can't, well, here's the centerfold. This is what it looks like. I'm very excited that Hands Across the Sea is going to the new spiral bound book. And there is a plan, however, I haven't been keeping up with the plan. But the Stitch Along has the sampler divided into sections. And I'm behind because I switched my linen twice, but I'm happy with what I'm doing it on now. So I decided to jump down here and join them. And you might notice I have one hand done and one hand not done. That's the way life goes sometimes. All the time for me, I guess. Oh dear, I'm gonna be a little quirky today. But okay, so what did I do? I switched to a 40 count linen, which I'm more comfortable with than the 46. And I believe this is Seraphim Antique White, maybe. I skipped down here to work on that section. And this is the Scottish sampler that I'm concentrating on right now. So I plan to stitch on her a little bit every night before I go to bed until maybe I get caught up, or maybe I don't, but I just enjoy doing that. She's really pretty. I'm using the Veriswa Silks, the 100.3s. So when I was in Michael's, I found this in the front checkout area, this little pencil case that works, well, it's not a pencil case, it's a plastic case that works perfect for these. So I picked up a couple and I'll be using them. So here they are, they're really pretty. So that is Ann Morrison, my nighttime stitch. Okay, so in my second 2-week rotation, the first thing I picked up and worked on for 5 days is Elizabeth Easton. And that's how far I got. I did get the woman done. This pattern's by The Good Housewife, and it is out of print, unfortunately. So in another couple weeks, I'll pick this up again for another 4-day rotation. I don't know why it's taking me so long with this. It seems like I could just whip it out, but It's taken a while, but I do enjoy it. And I'm using just DMC. They're pretty. And I have the threads on a thread keep that I sell in my shop. I just took the bird, took a snapshot of my bird, made a thread keep out of it. My shop is open right now, so I'll provide a link below for that. So that's Elizabeth Easton. And then the next thing I worked on for 4 days. My rotation is 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 3 days. So I'm working on 8 projects right now. And as they get finished, I'll put a new one in, but I'm working on them until they're done. And it's really helping me. It's really keeping me focused. I have this one. It's a perfect world. I didn't take it out, obviously, so there's a little bit of a glare. And I have it in a bag I made a while back. It's a Blackbird Designs. Sadly, Barbara has passed away, Barb. And I just like this print. I'm going to be buying some of the new fabric. I haven't decided what yet. I need to decide and do a pre-order. So that is a perfect world, and I think this sampler reflects me pretty perfectly, the sentiment behind it. So it says, in a perfect world, you would find me here with the birds and the flowers and the dogs and the deer. I love this so much. And that is true about me. I enjoy nature. I like to be outside. I enjoy seeing animals and flowers and being in the forest. So on this 2-week rotation, I got the house done and I worked on this black area. I did have to pick out the area over there on the left because I had counted wrong. So there was a huge section that I picked out in the car, going to see our daughter and her family, and thought that would be perfect to pick it out in the car. And then I discovered I can stitch in the car on 40 count. So I took advantage of that time. Yes, I did. So there's In a Perfect World. And I will pick this up in the next couple weeks and work on it again. I believe this is 40 count Stars Hollow by R&R. And I am using all the called for threads over dies. And it sits in one of my favorite bags I ever made. This one. I love this. I love this fabric. This was a fall fabric. I don't even know what it is now. Whether it's, I don't know, Andover maybe. And I like the contrast. So that is what this stays in. Next up, I worked on, for 3 days, White Pumpkin Farm by Plum Street Samplers. And I was able to finish it in the car, right? In the car. And I've really enjoyed working on this and getting it done. I've kind of gotten in the mood for fall instead of patriotic. So here is a finish. White Pumpkin Farm. That's better color representation. Not sure. I kind of think this is Meadow Rue, but I'm not sure. It's on 40 count. I love that big red luxury barn. There's a lot of stitches in it. And I loved the blackbirds and all the white pumpkins. It's just real pretty. So I was able to complete that border around the outside in the car and the pumpkins over there on the left. I lost half of my pattern, so I had to guess on those 3 pumpkins closest to the horse, but I think I did okay. So I will be getting that framed at my stitching shop in Arlington, I believe. Love that. And what I picked up that was in the bag with White Pumpkin Farm was Plum Street Samplers Penny Autumn. And I needed something to do in the car, so I went ahead and worked on that. A very small start. I actually had a start already and just worked on that a little bit. So here is all I have. And it is stitched on Ren. Picture This Plus Ren, I believe. Let me check. I'm using on the all the called for Classic Color Works. And it is 36 count Ren by Picture This Plus. I didn't have all of the threads. I'm gonna have to get some of the threads. So there it is. Very pretty. And I haven't decided if I'll just keep this in that slot or, let's see. Yeah, I did keep it in the slot, so I'll continue to work on that moving forward. And the last thing I worked on and had a finish on, I had 3 days slotted for it, but I only worked on it 2 days. And that is Lottie Dawes, Something Wicked. Something wicked this way comes by the pricking of my thumbs. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. That's a line out of Hamlet. One of the 3 witches says it. Of course, Ray Bradbury wrote a book by the same name that I'm rereading. I read it in high school. I'm reading it again, but I'm not to the point where I'm in the flow of it, if you know what I mean. So there is Something Wicked, and here it is finished. It's on Havana, Weeks Dyed Havana. It's darker than this. It's not quite that bright. Let's see what happens if I do this. My camera will refocus, make it darker. No, it doesn't. Well, and I've got the interfacing ironed onto the back, so I can cut it down to be pillow size. I'll try to pull out my sewing machine this afternoon. I'm dying to sew, but we still have lots of boxes to unpack. I've had lots of things to do, but I got this fabric for it. Or I had this in my stash. So, pull this up. I'll have that on it. And I like that. So that will go in my dough bowl. So I had 2 finishes in this last rotation, which is awesome. And that's all I worked on the last 2 weeks. Next up, I'm going to share a little bit of quilting plans with you. Before we move on to quilting, there's a couple things I forgot to share with you. I had a question that several people asked me on Instagram about what stand I was using to stitch on, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And I also have a giveaway I want to do. So the stand that I am most happy with now, I'm telling you guys, I love my stitching setup now. I love sitting at my IKEA work table, and I use this stand right here. This is a Kay's Creation stand. You can angle it to whatever angle you want it at. I'm not going to touch it because it's set up perfectly for to sit on my desk. I bought mine at 123 Stitch. You can find them on Etsy, I believe. It's the baby one, I believe, because it does come in a larger size, but I prefer, oops, well, it didn't break. It looks fine. I prefer stitching in a hoop on it rather than a Q-snap, because I feel like my hands can get better around it when it's a circle. You know, it's cut off the corner so I can get to it better. This is a Hardwick that I bought at, a long time ago. I think I bought it at a shop in Dallas, but it's got a 3/4 inch rim here, and it's perfect. I want to say it's the 10 inch maybe, but that's what I like to do. It's too big when I don't have it on a frame. I rarely stitch on it. But if I'm stitching without a frame, I like my smaller Duchess, the 4-inch Duchess. So that is the question to that, and I will I'll put a link to the one on 123 Stitch that I bought down below. I really apologize. Last time I totally spaced out putting links or anything below my last podcast. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is to talk about this giveaway. I've resized, and I picked this one because of this. I resized my needlepoint girls. Instead of being, well, this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it to all of them, but this lady, I would cut off when I made her square, and I wanted the whole dress to be seen. So I made it in this new size, which is like 1 3/4. And I really like this size, better than the long triangular ones. It has a scissor fob, and she's called the Needle Worker. If you would like to win this, then let's see, answer the question. I'm right in the middle of trying to put all my kitchen stuff away. And my new kitchen is smaller than any kitchen I've ever had. So give me your favorite kitchen tip on organization. Or no, that would assume that you're like an organizer. Tell me how you organize your pots and pans. Do you have all the lids separately somewhere in a stand-up stand, or do you just turn them upside down and put them on your pots? Or are they just thrown in there and you always have to look for it? Just give me a tip because I need a tip. So tell me about your pots and pans, how they're organized in your house, whether they're organized or whether they're not organized. Just give me a tip, or help me to feel like I'm not the only one who's not organized. I don't know. I feel like it's all coming together. I feel like it's pretty organized, but I have Instant Pots. I got rid of all my crock pots except for the one main one I use. And I can't figure out where to put my Instant Pot, my big things. Anyways, I'm really rambling, sorry. Just answer the question and be 18 and over. Don't say anything about winning. Just tell me your tip. That's all, and I will get this out to you. I will draw a name before next time and get it out to you. Okay, next up is a little bit of quilting. As I've unpacked, I've seen lots of quilts that I need to finish up, and I also want to learn how to do it on my machine. If it's a smaller one, a larger one, I'll take to a long arm quilter. But I found this that I'd made a couple years back, and it is a kit that I bought off of Craftsy, and it's just a batik print. I bought 2 of them because they were super cheap. The other one that I bought that I think will go better in this room because of the blue walls is this one. I'm not going to take it out, but it has all the blue batiks. It's a Timeless Treasures. And it's a Tonga treat. It has the pattern that's included on it. So with this one, all I really want to do is practice quilting with my machine. And if you are a quilter, could you tell me how you would have this quilted, even if you took it to a shop? Would you stitch around the triangles like 1/4 of an inch out? Which is probably what I would do if I were hand quilting. Or how would you, what kind of quilting pattern would you put on this? So I'm going to be working on this next week. When I get to pull my machine out, I hope I get to pull it out. That will be the first thing into quilting. I have lots of quilting plans, but that's all I'm going to share with you today about that. Life updates. We're continuing to move in and get settled. We did take a break and we went to Tennessee to see my daughter and her family, and I had not seen them since the day before the shutdown. I think we flew back, and that next week the shutdown happened. So it was wonderful. Gran had 2 crafts she wanted to do with them. We made slime, which went over wonderful with my grandson. My autistic granddaughter had a few issues with it, but her daddy was helping her and he had fun. And he made a comment because he's a chemical engineer. I said, let's just get our hands in there and squish it all together. And he said, well, I said, it's a science experiment. And he said, well, Gran, all the science experiments I did, you didn't put your hands in it or you could lose a hand. So we laughed a lot, which is always the best thing you can do, right? And then I also made worms and dirt, which is the kid recipe. Probably a lot of you did the same thing, where you make chocolate pudding and then you crush up the Oreos and you layer it and you stick gummy worms in it. My grandson loved that. He just loved it. And it was a lot of fun. I let them each count out 6 cookies and put them in a Ziploc bag, and they got to crush them with their hands. And then I had Evan measure out 4 cups of milk, and Zoe poured it in, and I had a whisk, and they whisked it to make the pudding, and it was a lot of fun. We just really enjoyed that trip. So that kind of revived us and had us not excited to come back and finish up unpacking, but it motivated us, gave us a little bit of a rest. I'm going to share a little bit of stash enhancement. I went to an antique store on our way home, and that will be all for today. So hold on a minute and let me get my stash enhancement. Well, of course, unpacking all my whips has really made me realize I need to get a handle on things. So I'm super pumped up about working on whips and not starting anything new unless it's something that I pre-planned and was really excited about it. So I really haven't been adding to my stash much, but my friend Christine from Hollis Hands Create, she knew I'd been looking for this Plum Street pattern for a long time has been out of print. It's Hallow Eden. So she contacted Paulette, and Paulette made a run of these. So if you've been looking for this too, it's one of her old ones. If you've been looking for this, Christine Hollis Hands Creates has them. I'm super excited about it. My friend Michelle, Cozy Egg, stitched it on a dark fabric, which I totally fell in love with when she finished it. And so I've been looking for a couple years for it. But when the pattern came and it was on this color fabric, I thought that would look really pretty in my room here in my craft room. So I may stitch it on Fox and Rabbit's eucalyptus, maybe? I don't know. It's not in my immediate plans, but I'm super happy to have it. And the other thing I bought from Christine, because I am doing the Scottish samplers and I'm collecting the patterns to do, maybe not start right now, but later on. So Martha Ramage is one of the Hands Across the Sea new patterns, and it is a Scottish sampler. It's a temperance sampler. So it says, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. And that just really made me smile because it was stitched by Martha Ramage Woodheads in 1899. Every man's home is his castle is what it says on it. And it made me smile. I was joking with Christine about, yeah, I can see this wife who has a Scottish husband coming home after he's been drinking his whiskey down at the pub, and she said, well, I'm gonna have my daughter stitch something because, you know, daddies and daughters, and maybe he'll get the hint. But it's really pretty. The model was stitched on like 56 count, I think, which I will not be doing. But I've got this in my stash now. And this is that new booklet that they're making it, which is just great. I'm gonna try not to show you. I'm gonna show you a page without a, well, I'm gonna go real quick. Look how big the charts are. It's awesome. And it still does come with a little write-up in it. I saw a picture here of a Scottish man. I don't know where it was. Oh, right here. I guess it's got this picture in there. So yeah, that's on my future at some point. And so when we were on vacation and we were coming home, we went through Cades Cove in around Gatlinburg. And there was a huge antique store. So my husband let me go in it, and I'll show you what I got. First I found this for $3. There was a whole box full of them. And this was a spindle at some point, I think. And I thought it would be nice to roll up smaller finished samplers on it. It's about 14 inches long, 16 inches maybe. So it would be the smaller ones, just to keep them flat if I have to wait to get them framed. So that was a fun find. I almost bought a whole bunch of them, but then I thought I better try it first. And then I found some vintage antique buttons. Take this one out of the Ziploc bag. I found these for $2, which they're really unique, I think. And they'll be fun. See, they shine. It's like they're mother of pearl. And they're, then I found these. It's kind of funny. It's like, at first I thought this was leather, and then it looks like the woman just cut out some cardboard or something and sewed them on, because I think there was a time when women, as their men wore out their shirts, they would just keep the buttons. So this doesn't look like it came from a factory. It looks like it was just a housewife who saved the buttons this way. Kind of fun. And the last thing I bought, which I don't know if I overpaid for, I found a shaker box. This is in excellent condition. And I paid $24 for that. So I don't know if that's overpaying or what, but it's really pretty. The lid's really heavy. And I mean, it's just in great shape. So those were my finds. So friends, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. If you stuck with me this long, if you're a first time viewer, I am. Now that I have this new rotation, I do plan to come back every 2 weeks. Now that I have a home and I can set up and it's not such a big hassle and I have a faster internet that can upload really quickly, I will be back in 2 weeks to show you my next 2-week rotation, the progress I've made. So take care, create beautiful things, stay well, and try to find joy in what you do, and look around and try to find things that you can be thankful for. So everyone take care. Bye.